She then went on to describe basically, you know, you have options. I need to book you in with the state neurologist as soon as possible. I was near UBC, so University of British Columbia. She booked me in to see the state top neurologist of British Columbia, which was awesome that I got to see him actually first rather than anyone else, I think. And she also booked me into Vancouver National Hospital to have an MRI scan as well. She gave me options for treating optic neuritis. I basically had the choice of either take these steroids or don't take these steroids. If I took the steroids, it was going to be for 3 days. It was going to be 10 tablets worth. She told me they were small. When I got the prescription, they were huge. I had to take 10 steroids a day for 3 days in a row. And there was some serious side effects associated with them. However, if I took these steroids, there was going to be 90% chance that I get 90% of my vision back in that eye. So odds were really good. However, symptoms were things like anxiety, depression, increased energy levels or hyperactivity, I would say, and then reduced serotonin levels, so your emotions were just all over the shop. Complete disruption of the digestive system. That just completely blew my stomach to the pits. It was horrible. So these were some symptoms, and then some serious symptoms were psychosis and personality disruption. Those two heavy symptoms, or side effects, I should say, the percentage of that happening was so low that it was better off that I took the drug, as it would help with my optic neuritis and the regain of my vision in that eye. And on top of that, it was also going to prevent me from having another MS attack, as optic neuritis is an MS attack. So during the time of seeing her and seeing the neurologist to confirm or deny that I had MS, if I took those steroids at the beginning, it was going to prevent me from having another attack during that time. So I did take the drugs, and it was awful. But I did get 90% of my vision back, long story short, which is amazing. And I did have a friend come and visit me every day to make sure I was okay, which was really good. But those 3 days, I was obviously in limbo, waiting to find out, you know, if I was ill or not, and what was actually going on. There was loads of tears, screaming, that sort of thing, calling my family back home in Australia. And then fast forward track, I guess, to when I did have the scans done, the MRI, and I did go and see the neurologist. I sat there, 2 friends drove me to the city that day, and I sat there, and he read the results to me, and he was showing me scans of my brain and pointing out lesions and scars all over my brain, and confirmed that I did have multiple sclerosis. And optic neuritis was a sign of a first attack. I have never felt so alone. It was so bad. I didn't really know what multiple sclerosis was. B, I wasn't with any of my family. And C, I'd just gone through a really awful breakup. And I was also under complete stress from how I was living as well. I wasn't living a healthy life. I was always up, doing things. It was always go, waking up with hangovers and things like that, pushing my body to the extreme limits. So he explained to me what multiple sclerosis is. For those of you that don't know, it is an autoimmune disease where basically the immune system attacks the central nervous system. So scarring appears on the brain and the spine, the central nervous system, causing loss of signal and transmissible signal between the two. So you can lose vision like I did. You can become quite depressed, and you can lose coordination and things like that if you don't treat it. And attacks do happen quite significantly. If you don't treat it, you can go downhill pretty fast. So then we started talking about treatment plans and things like that. Me being from Australia, he got me onto an Australian neurologist straight away, one in Perth where I'm from. Happens to also be the top neurologist here in Perth, which is amazing. They liaised with each other and then liaised their information and their treatment plan for me, which was awesome. I felt like I was getting taken care of and that my health and longevity was of their utmost importance, which was really kind of, it gave me the peace of mind that I knew I was in the right hands, and I knew that the decisions that they were making with me and for me were only going to be for optimal health down the track. So I started a infusion called rituximab. It's usually treated for rheumatoid arthritis, however it does work for MS as well, and it basically just puts a protective layer around your central nervous system so that scarring and all of that kind of nerve damage can't continue to happen, and you're basically infused with the drug every 6 months. This drug was going to be an easy transfer for me if I ever was to move back to Australia, as the drug is available here in Australia. And there is also a better one, ocrelizumab. That is the best multiple sclerosis drug out there to date, if you catch your disease early on. And for someone like me who's coordinate in this day and age in 2020 or whenever it was in 2018, I was lucky enough to A, be an Australian, and B, the science be furthermore advanced than it was back in the day when people were prescribed pills that they had to take every day or injectables every day as well. So I'm lucky in that sense that I only have to have treatment as such every 6 months, which is awesome. And where am I going with this now? So I guess fast forward now, I've had 3 treatments in Australia of ocrelizumab since moving from Canada back to Australia, and it's going well, and I don't feel any side effects from ocrelizumab. I just feel tired on the day because I've been sitting on my ass all day. Other than that, I feel really good. So jumping back to the severity of my MS, I had, for those of you that know about MS or know someone with MS or are familiar with the disease, I had 7 lesions on my brain and white matter showing up on my spine as well, which wasn't clear enough or significant enough to be a sign of MS. However, it's being looked at and we're keeping an eye on it, throughout my treatment and further MRI scans, which I will continue to have annually if I can, maximum every 2 years. I'm due to have one actually next weekend. Yay! But 7 lesions on my brain. Since starting the treatment of rituximab and then moving to ocrelizumab and doing another MRI scan 2 years ago, I don't have any new lesions on my brain, which is amazing. That scan, however, was done in 2018, and the next one is going to be next weekend. So we'll see if there's any new scarring, but I'm keeping everything crossed, and I doubt there will be because ocrelizumab stops the disease. So it forms a protective layer over the myelin sheath, which is the protective layer over our brain. So it's basically, protecting my brain from any new damage or scarring amongst the tissue that may happen. So it's good. Being told that I had MS in 2018, late 2017, early 2018, I then obviously was asking myself, why me? I'm so fit and healthy. Well, I was very active. I wouldn't say I was eating well, but I was also not eating well at the same time. I would binge eat and binge drink. I just kept asking myself, why me? Why have I got this? As I grew to learn that it wasn't a genetically transmissible disease. They still don't know why MS happens. However, it is an immune disease, an autoimmune disease, where the immune system itself, is grazing away and attacking the myelin sheath and the central nervous system. This to me points to immunity and immune system. 70% of our immune system lies in the gut. So therefore, if our guts are under stress, if we're damaging our organs and the way our digestive system is working, and there is just complete disregard and disrespect to our gut microbiome for the extended amount of years that I did that for, then immunity is lost. And like I said, 70% of our immune system is made up in the gut. I think a weak immune system and a weak gut is going to lead to illness. You've heard it before, as they always say, everything starts in the gut. What you put in, what you get out. You are what you eat. And yeah, so unfortunately I formed a disease, which I've stopped in its tracks, so that's positive. So I won't dive too much into the whole of feeling like crap about it. I actually feel amazing. And it's because what I'm doing now with my body and how I'm fueling my body and eating and exercising and all that sort of stuff, with obviously the help and the treatment that I'm getting every 6 months. So yeah, looking at a very long, healthy, strong life, I hope. Before I got to this stage of feeling so great, I was still suffering heavily from extreme digestive disruption and issues. After moving back home in 2018, after finding out about this news, I started my road to health, I would say. And yeah, I tried many different diets, pescatarian, lots of protein. I was always a huge fan of vegetables, so I've always included loads of vegetables in my diet. However, my gut was so damaged and microbiome was so out of whack due to all the antibiotics I'd taken over the years and all of everything else I've just explained. The amount of food that I was feeding it and the way I was feeding it, my stomach was not equipped to handle it. By that I mean I was eating a lot of protein. My liver was under complete distress. So your liver is main responsibility is breaking down fats and proteins. And excreting waste matter and sewage matter, as you would say, from the system and from the gut. And I was feeding it high protein and high fat. I thought I was doing the right thing. Loads of nuts and seeds, loads of avocado, loads of coconut oil, which is very high in saturated fat, which I wasn't aware of at the time. I thought I was doing the right thing by eating loads of, plentiful fruit and veg, but kind of at the wrong time as well. So I would eat a really heavily dense meal full of loads of protein, legumes, brown rice, which are slow releasing energy carbohydrates. So they're going to take longer to digest and break down in your gut and your small intestine. So as I'm eating these foods that are incredibly healthy for you, then I'm also feeding it with a piece of fruit immediately after. Fruit goes straight through you. That would completely mess up my digestive system, as I was trying to break down this really hearty meal that I'd just eaten, and then I'd have an apple immediately after or a whole mango immediately after, and my stomach was just not equipped for that. It would just mess everything up. On top of that, loads of fats as well. So I'd have this like gigantic, I'm not talking in masses of the size, just, I'd have a meal of like oats, and I'd have loads of nuts and seeds and fats and coconut milk, tahini, peanut butter, you name it, like all of it, banana, apples, things like that. And there was just so much going on in my meals. My stomach was just not strong enough to handle that at that time. My bacteria and, the healthy bacteria was barely to be seen. My microbiome was very, very weak, and I still think to this day it will always be a continuous kind of mission for me to maintain a healthy gut microbiome. Sorry, I'm losing my speech here. I've been talking for too long. It's going to be a continuous life hobby and habit of mine. I'm going to have to